Good morning. Hope you all are doing well. So I just wanted to come online and address two things really quickly. One is I had to delete a comment on the post about garlic. So for the person who I tried to comment on it first, but when I deleted it, it deleted the comment too. So I figured this would be the best way to address it. Somebody was trying to be very helpful and posted a YouTube video from a popular YouTuber who does homesteading stuff about fermenting garlic. And basically the recipe was you put the garlic in the jar, you add some salt and water, and then every day you give it a shake to disturb mold that's trying to grow and inhibit the mold growth. I just want to make it abundantly clear that in this class, we're not going to be doing things that are considered okay by lay people. We want to focus on things that are tried and true, absolutely safe. We have a lot of new people here who are just beginning. So we're not going to do anything that's experimental that could cause somebody to get sick or injured. So if I see comments or posts like that, I'm going to delete them. And I just want you to know it's nothing personal. I'm not trying to invalidate anything you might have tried, but I feel like I'm responsible for the content of the class, and I want to make sure that everything that is posted within this group or shared on the YouTube channel my son is setting up for me is 100% USDA or university tested. So please make sure that if it's something you might have experimented with, you have a friend who experimented with it, your grandmother, your mother, or whatever, please refrain from sharing your knowledge within this group. This group has exploded overnight. There are over 800 of you now, so I'm going to have to be a lot more strict, I guess is the word, as far as making sure that these things are not promoted. Because I don't want to do anything or have anything on here that's going to lead somebody to think that a certain way of doing things is okay when it's not a scientific proven method. So fermentation is something we will get into, but I want it done in a way, number one, that I know is safe and that I'm confident in, not something from another lay person. Okay, so I just wanted to address that really quick. Also, on another post, I think it was on my list of essential canning supplies, a lady asked about pectin. Pectin is a natural substance found in almost fully ripe fruit. So it's still a little bit unripe. That's where you get the highest concentrations with it. Apples, Concord grapes, pears, those all have really high contents of pectin. The white pith of citrus fruits have high concentrations of pectin. Low pectin foods are like strawberries. Actually, I have a list here. Let me. Okay, so good strong ones are tart apples, Concord grapes, sour blackberries, cranberries, currants, gooseberries, quinces, and sour plums. Low pectin items are apricots, blueberries, cherries, peaches, pineapples, rhubarb, and strawberries. The riper the fruit are, the less pectin you'll have. So if you want something that's going to have a good, strong, thickened product, like a jelly or a jam, then you want to use slightly unripe fruit. If you want something that's going to be more of a runny consistency, then you can use fruit that either doesn't have a high content of pectin, or you can reduce it by using overripe fruit. So I just wanted to clarify that. You can buy pectin commercially. That's, harvested commercially through a process. I prefer to get mine naturally if I can. I make my own pectin with apple peels and apple cores. You'll find that a lot of recipes will call for you to keep your cores or your pith or your skins, because that's where the highest concentrations of pectin are. And like I said, it's an all-natural substance that causes your fruit to gel or jelly or thicken. So completely safe substance. But yeah, so I just wanted to clarify those two things. So with that, I'm going to let you all go. And I went ahead and posted that list of supplies. So I hope you get a chance to read through that. If you have any more questions, let me know. I'm gonna go finish my coffee, and I've got piano to do today and a bunch of other things to do today. Maybe later, if you guys have questions, I can do another Q&A if you all feel it's necessary. But otherwise, we'll be jumping on probably tomorrow or the day after with another canning lesson. Okay? You're welcome, Lori. You guys have a great day, all right? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, have had a few questions today about canning products with beans or beans. Let me see. Angela, if you are on, can you send me a little heart or comment so that I can make sure that you're getting this, because I want to make sure that you get this specifically. Hi, Jill. Late night canning, right? Let me see if I can tag her. How do I do this? Angela. I don't know if this is working to tag. Jill, did that tag go through? Because I can't tell. Oh, well, I wouldn't call me a master, but I appreciate the compliment just the same. I can see there are 8 people. Facebook is acting really weird today. I was on a live for my business, and I could see, like, I was live, but I couldn't see who was there or anything. Ah, good, she's here. Okay. Oh, she just commented, so you're good. Okay, so question about beans. Yes, you can can pinto beans. You can can kidney, navy, pinto, why cannot, lentils. Thank you. Could not think of the word. So, real quick, oops, I can't do that because I guess you won't be able to see my face. We like to sit in the dark here. Okay, so here are basic instructions. I'm going to read them from this book, so y'all have them. So, and this goes across the board for any dried bean. You're going to have a soak period, a heat period, rinse, and more likely than not a re-soak or a reboil. So for any variety of dried beans or dried peas, cover the bean or peas with cold water. You're going to let it stand in the cold water for 12 to 18 hours, okay? And you can just leave it in a cool place. It can be on your counter or whatever. Pretty much like if you were making a chili. Drain the peas, drain the covered beans or peas, and then, what in the world? Okay, drain and then cover the peas or beans with cold water by at least 2 inches. So you want 2 inches above your dried beans. Boil for 30 minutes. And this one is not, give me 1 second. Soak for 12 to 18 hours, drain, cover beans, peas with cold water by 2 inches, boil 30 minutes. Now this book is saying to pack hot, but before you follow the advice of that book, I always like to get at least 2 references to make sure that we're getting solid information, because everything, you know, is subject to have error. My other book here says that you have to do a second boiling, which is why I said that at the beginning. And I had this out 2 seconds ago, and I was like, oh, look, here it is. I don't need that. Turns out I do. Okay, so this one, beans or dry peas. Okay. No, I guess that one is okay too. All right, so if we have two resources that agree, we're going to go with it. So 12 to 18 hours, drain, cover, beans with boiling water, boil 2 minutes, remove from heat, soak 1 hour, then drain, cover beans soaked by either method with fresh water, boil 30 minutes. So this one does say to boil it twice. So I would err on the side of caution, and I would do the soak for the 12 to 18 hours, cover it with 2 inches of water, boil for 2 minutes, remove, soak another hour, then drain, and then cover beans with fresh water and boil 30 minutes before you start canning them. Make sure your jars are nice and sterile. Make sure you rinse any starch off before you start the last boil. So, any questions on that? And I'd also like to add, a couple of you have sent me soup recipes that have lima beans in them or corn in them for like regular vegetable soups, or one of you sent a ham and bean recipe, which I don't think I've released yet because I was in the middle of commenting. With those recipes, you're going to increase your time to the time. Let me answer that in just a second, Angela. You're going to increase the time to the longest component in your recipe. So if you have a vegetable soup and you want to put beans in there, you can absolutely do that, but you need to increase the processing time to account for the beans. And you need to make sure that the beans were soaked and then pre-boiled before you attempt that, because you need to have the liquid not only absorb the beans so that the beans are not swelling post-canning, because if you do that, you can have expansion, which can disrupt your lid, and you don't want to have that happen. But the other part of that is you also, because beans are such a dry, dense material, you want to make sure that they're completely heated all the way through so that you're killing any likelihood of any growth, or any likelihood of growth from bacteria, molds, and other bad organisms. Angela, you can add fat back, but I would not add fat back pre-canning. I would add, if you're going to use fat back, then I would wait till after the fact. And when you're reheating to serve your meal, that's when I would add it. And that same applies with your lentils. Since we're on the subject of soups, because so many of you have sent me soup recipes or asked questions about soups, please make sure that you're not adding rice, flours, cornstarch for thickening, no pasta being added to any of the soups, because again, those are all subject to swell and they can disrupt your lids. So, and corn is another one. If you add corn to any soup recipe, you're going to want to increase your processing time to account for corn. Any other questions? Okay, so Angela asked in her post if she could use canned corn and canned green beans, but then she also wanted a recipe for doing pinto beans. You can use, like if you have a soup you're making and you have store-bought corn or beans or something that you want to add into it that have already been canned commercially, you can add those into your soup, but you still have to increase the processing time to reprocess. You want to be careful. Things like green beans can end up getting mushy if they're processed too much. You might want to consider using frozen instead of canned. You're welcome, Angela. Yes, if you're going to do that, then you would want to pour the liquid off. I don't know why the second half of that comment didn't just come up with your thing. Facebook is acting so hinky. So yeah, okay, good. So if you have any other questions, I'll try to get on and answer them, but yes, it's something that swells, so you don't want to put that in there. I wouldn't put quinoa in there either. Any type of grain that swells, oats, flour, things like that, you'll have swelling and expansion. It'll also affect the amount of liquid. So if you have something that's meant to have a lot of liquid for the processing, it could thicken it to the point where you're not getting adequate processing throughout it. Oh, and while I have you guys here, one more thing I wanted to address. I know I previously said that I was not going to allow posts on the board that contraindicated safety canning, and a lady had posted yesterday about her. Yeah, even if it's pre-cooked, you don't want to do it, Fran. Certain things that we use for foods have the potential for expansion, even after it's cooked once. When it's in a liquid, it continues to absorb that liquid and expand. So nothing like that. So anyways, going back. So she posted a question about jam, and another lady commented about old time. You're welcome, Fran. Old time canning, using just a pour and screw method. And I answered back as far as what appropriate methods are and why those methods are not appropriate. Normally, I would not indulge so much, but I felt like that was a good opportunity to teach you guys, or have the opportunity to teach others why those methods are no longer safe. A lot of people do things because they've been taught to do them that way for years and years and years. But when you know better, you do better. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there and explain that in case anybody was going, why is she letting this conversation go on? So any other questions? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. All right, so you guys have a great night.